for two. Kickers are extra, I give them the boot. Ooh, going for two. Sit back, relax while I grab me a brew. Ooh, now I'm reclining while putting my time and I'm ready to go. My spine is aligning and much my lineups, my bank account grow. I am so rich, but knowledge is all that I'm leaving it with. Ooh, listen to this, multiple options, how far can I get? Ooh, DFS Dynasty redraft tonight, I'm not finishing last. I'm finishing past, any and all I am looking to last. What else? This spot is popping and I am so locked in and only opening the door when it is opportunity knocking. And all of these spots keep on talking and talking. So what are we talking? What kind of alignment? And running it deep, even players forgotten or came from the bottom or hitting that top end. And this spot is popping, yeah, this spot is popping. And woo, this is the armchair, yeah. Put up your arms, yeah. Sound the alarm, yeah.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us on the Sunday pregame show for week 2. I'm here today with Gerson, Ben, and Jamie. We're going to quickly dive into some news real quick before getting into DFS with Gerson, and then from there we'll be doing some start-sit stuff. First off, Gerson, how are you feeling today?
Doing good. Good morning to everybody. Week 2, baby. Let's kick this off.
Yes, sir. Jamie, Ben, how about yourselves? How you guys doing?
Doing pretty good. Ready for some football today?
Oh, yeah. So first off, we're just going to jump right into it. We've got some news, some RBs specifically. Kamara, Dobbins, both questionable most of the week. They are out. So if they're in your lineups, be cautious of that. Change them. Also, Julio Jones, as of now, he's listed as out. Alan Lazard, he was questionable, but he's expected to play. We'll keep you updated as more of the news comes in. But other than that, let's just jump right into DFS. So, Gerson, what do you got for us?
Basically, at quarterback, it's gonna be the sharp guy. The number one guy I like the most is definitely Derek Carr. While people hear elite plays, I usually like to go by like value, like the way I like to range them in. I have Derek Carr, top 3 matchup against the Cardinals. We saw what Patrick Mahomes did against them. Price is 6.2K. I'm definitely going to be having a lot of exposure to him. Great game environment, high pace, high over and under. He has all my checklists: pace, over under, total, implied total, stack, and value. So like I love him. In the middle tier, I have Joe Burrow. I think this is going to be my leverage play. So what leverage means, like off the high owned quarterback. So pivot. Joe Burrow 6.6K. I think his stack is going to be low owned. I think with the T. Higgins news that he had a concussion all week, but he looks like he's going to play, you know? So give me T. Higgins, stack with Joe Burrow, and what's his name? Jamar Chase, obviously. But run it back with Don't go so much CeeDee Lamb. I'm still skeptic that CeeDee Lamb is an elite wide receiver. Still haven't seen it, even with Dak. I like CeeDee as much as anybody, but I just rather have that lower price run back, you know. Quarterback value, definitely Tua Tagovailoa. Shaky secondary right now, man. Like they're a little bit hurt. They're bumming, you know. They're like, I see the chat. Who should I play over Julio, man? You guys don't do this to me, man.
I figured we'd get into that after we covered the QBs and RBs. Once we got into the wide receivers, I figured we'd touch that real quick.
We will. So Tua Tagovailoa, shaky secondary for Raven. I think it's a very sneaky game. I see the total isn't as high as I'd like it to be, but it's at 44.5. I think that'll go over. I don't think people realize like how good Miami's offense can really be. Last week was just kind of like a pre-show, you know? Like it's just kind of they're still learning the new system. They're still adjusting. And Tua, I mean, this guy gets criticized more than anybody in the NFL, man. It's crazy. Like, I mean, what was it? Justin Herbert goes out there and loses a fourth quarter lead. Pick six, loses a game. Patrick Mahomes, you know, like just normal thing. But Tua does something, win 20-7 against a Hall of Fame coach. What do you know? He needs to improve. He needs to get better. Like, okay, dude, like let's stop being hard on him. But give me Tua Tagovailoa. Stack him with Jalen Waddle and what's his name? Tyreek Hill. Bring it back with Rashad Bateman, man. I think Bateman's the real deal. I love the price on him. Mark Andrews is expensive. If you can bring him back, you're going to have to pay down at running back.
And So with Tua, Joe, and Derek, is there one you're more in favor of leaning towards when you're setting these lineups?
Tyreek.
Tyreek, or no, for QB?
Yeah, I like his matchup. I think with Hamilton, he's one of those safety, and he doesn't start, but he'll come in. He's one of those safety that does really terrible at covering over the top. We saw him get burned in preseason. We saw him get burned in practice, you know? So, like, I think Tyreek is freak, man. Like, he's just amazing, no matter what team he's on. But I like Tyreek better than Waddle, and I love Waddle too, but
and quickly, sorry to cut you off, Gerson. Ben, Jamie, what are you guys' quick thoughts on Derek Carr, Joe Burrow, and Tua? Any thoughts on those guys this week?
Me personally, I would like to start Tua out of all of them. Tua has a matchup today against the Ravens that I'm particularly excited about, especially with Chase Edmonds there. I feel like the Ravens gave up so many receptions with the Jets at running back too. So I think Tua is going to have a game today. I think that they can possibly take the Ravens today. That's what I think. And then
Jamie, what are your thoughts real quick?
Yeah. I'm going with Tua also. I just think I like the Waddle connection down the field, and they're going to need to air it out to keep up with the Ravens. So I'm going that way.
I'm also in favor of Tua here. I mean, I really like what Miami has going on defense, but we'll get more into that later when we're covering the defense and special team stuff. Gerson, you look like you want to say something. What's up, my man?
So Marcus Peter is playing, and so is dipshit Marlon Humphrey. They're both playing. So that's why we can't have nice things, guys. Because they decided to wake up today and say my cramp went away. We're gonna play, you know. So it'll make Tua's matchup a little bit tougher. So I'm thinking of scaling back a little bit on that. This is why we say tune in on the Sunday show, because we can tell you the plays on Friday night. We can tell you I can post my plays on. Oh, actually, let me do that. In the comment section, I'll drop it right now in a second. I have a spreadsheet that I create, just giving you my plays, telling you my top stats, like my favorite plays. Like I narrow it down to like, you know, kind of like a cheat sheet, you know.
He's got his own metric. He's got the G metric. That's what I'm going to start calling it. That's pretty much how you got it calculated down. I mean, I know you're crunching your numbers every weekend. And what are those numbers telling you in regards to running backs? I know you got a few for us there.
Yeah, man, running back is very hard this week. It was so hard because everybody knows I love Jonathan Taylor. So Jonathan Taylor to me is the elite play today. The only problem is his price comparing to the other two guys that I want to play, where it's at wide receivers, which I'll talk about later. He's 9.9K. He's a smash in my smash play percentage. He's like the highest. Usage is going to be elite because no Michael Pittman. Going to be playing with Ashwin Dulin, Paris Campbell, and I don't even know who else. Kylan Granson. I mean, that doesn't sound too sexy to me, you know. I think they're going to rely on Jonathan Taylor, and Jonathan Taylor had done this before. Like we've seen the Taylor show, you know. He against the Jaguars, he had big games. 2 big games in Week 10, 116 yards, a touchdown, 5.5 yards per carry. Week 17, 253 yards. You guys remember that, right? 253 yards, 3 touchdowns, 8.4 yards per carry. He's done it before, and he can get the workload. I would smash the over on 22.5, I think it was, carries for Jonathan Taylor on Prize Pick and Underdog. But for DFS, I'm going to have a lot of exposure to him. It's going to be hard for me to find ways to get different with him because there's so many other running back plays. The other running back I like in the mid-tier is Mr. Saquon Barkley. He's back. He looked great last week. If you watched that game, the only thing that was exciting in that game was Saquon Barkley.
And I have to say, I mean, I know I don't play really any DFS, but the value comparison of his price compared to JT's and the way Barkley looked last week, that looks like great value at 7.3K. That seems like a great price relative to, I mean, what we were seeing last week. If he's old Saquon again, seems like a great deal. But
That,
also, I
baby.
just wanted to say something in regards to the chats. We're seeing some of your start-sit questions. We're going to get more into that in a little bit. But first, we're trying to get through this DFS stuff with Gerson. But I've got those questions pinned, so don't think we're ignoring them. We will be getting to it, and I'll also be getting to Yeti's message about the horn with the Vikings. Enjoy it while it lasts. But Gerson, what else you got for us at running back?
Thank you. So Saquon Barkley, I wanted to say that his usage is high. If Dabo is making it, it's the Saquon show and nothing else. I mean, the only other thing that was entertaining in that game, like I said, was Daniel Jones getting his ass ripped by Dabo. You know, like this guy, he knows he doesn't care who you are. He knows what player he wants to make the best out of, and he's going to Saquon. 7.3K is too cheap. My value running back in this week, it's hard. There's two other running backs I want to mention that I'm going to have exposure to in value, but this guy's going to be the top guy. The other two running backs are Chase Edmonds and Jeff Wilson, but the guy I'm going with is definitely Darrell Henderson and Jeff Wilson. The guy I'm going with is Chase Edmonds. I think we are going to see high usage with him. This game environment is going to be a lot closer than people think. He's going to get used a lot. 5.2K. I mean, there's no Sony Michel there. We didn't see very much usage from other running backs there. We know if there's a coach that looks like just your neighbor that mows your lawn, which waved at you, it's definitely Coach McDaniel, man. That guy I would never guess is a coach in the NFL if I just saw him randomly, you know. But give me Chase Edmonds. So my three core guys are going to be Jonathan Taylor, Saquon Barkley, Chase Edmonds. After that, they're not on my list right now on the sheet, but I do love Devontae Williams and Joe Mixon. I love Devontae Williams and Joe Mixon. So I'll have those guys. Those are my core of my running back.
No, I like it. I mean, Ben, Jamie, any quick thoughts on those running backs? Chase Edmonds, Saquon, and JT?
Yeah, Jamie.
JT's a smash play. Edmonds, he's been one of my favorite players all off season, and they're just going to get him more involved this week.
No, I like Chase Edmonds. I'm a little scared because, what if Mostert is suddenly that back? We haven't really seen one way or the other. I'm more in favor of Chase Edmonds. I'm not here to, promote Raheem, but I am a little concerned, and I want to see it for sure before I invest in it. But with that in mind, we're about to dive into wide receivers. And Gerson, real quick, Tim Strobel in the chat had a question for you as well. I believe he's talking about DFS with us. He said, who should I play over Julio? What are your thoughts there?
I'm a big Julio tout fan. Like, if I would ever meet this guy, I'd just give him a hug and tell him, you won me so much money. You won me so many fantasy football championships. There's no way I can repay you but a big hug, buddy. But, Julio's out. Russell Gage, I'm not too interested. I really think this is going to be a tough game for Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It's going to be a lot closer than people think. I don't see a high-scoring affair. I see maybe 21-14, very low score.
Yeah. Are there any of the wide receivers in that same maybe price range that Julio would be in that you're looking at? Like, are any of the ones that you have listed would be in that same range that you might be slotting in if you were maybe considering Julio before?
Yeah, man. So I think Russell Gage is 4,300, but in Julio's range, I think how much is Julio? I'm sorry, hold on, let me find Julio's range because I didn't have him. I didn't have exposure to him, so
no, you're good.
Julio, 5,500. So if we're going 5,500, I'm just going straight to Christian Kirk. He's 5.7K, so $200 more. Christian Kirk he's actually one of the guys I like this week. So let me go up. Sorry, I have so many tabs.
No, you're good.
Christian Kirk is on the value tier. So that's an excellent play right there. 5.7K, wide receiver 1 usage. He's a wide receiver 1 on that team. So you give me the usage, you give me the price, and he got what? I think 15 targets last week. It was ridiculous. It was 12 targets, 6 receptions, 117 yards. That's without a touchdown. Let's say he gets a touchdown in this game, which I think is doable because it's against Indianapolis Colts. He'll crush value. So that's the range I'd probably go into.
And you want to tell us about your other wide receivers you're considering at those different price ranges?
Yes. My favorite play of the day. This is the reason why I can't get to a lot of Jonathan Taylor, why I can't get to a lot of Christian McCaffrey. Yeah, baby. Raider Nation, baby. It's Devontae Adams time, baby. Oh man, this is so crazy because like for the first time in a long time, I can actually be confident in a Raiders player to score me point. You know, besides Waller, I mean Jacob, it's like sometimes like but Devontae Adams, I think he's a locked-in smash play today. Like smash, like he's gonna do what Justin Jefferson did last week in the first half, probably in this game. Like like I love him. We have him as the lock of the week on the GoingFor2 show, the Armchair show. There's a narrative. It's a grandparent narrative. The first time that we were ever going to hear that. They're coming to watch him play. And they've never watched him play in the NFL. Think about it. This guy's been in the NFL, what, 6-7 years now? Maybe? How awesome would that be? Like, you're going to ball out, dude. And the secondary for the Cardinals is horrible, horrific. We saw it last week. We had wide receivers that weren't even close to talented, besides Travis Kelce, as Devontae Adams, and they got shredded. Definitely love Devontae Adams. The mid-tier, I already mentioned it early on. This is the mid-tier high core. So, like, there's 3 tiers in wide receiver because there's so many players. Tyreek Hill, I spoke about him. You know why I like him. Matchup. I think this is a game that we can see a Tyreek game in. The lower mid-tier, I already spoke about him too, Christian Kirk. So, give me Christian Kirk. But it's hard for wide receivers. There's so many good plays, but I'm just trying to give you guys the guys that I like without giving you guys. I'll say other ones just for like quick reference. Jamar Chase, Cooper Kupp, elite tier. Amon-Ra St. Brown, Marquise Brown, Courtland Sutton. Just look at my show sheet. Look at the sheet that I posted. It has all the plays I love. Jerry Jeudy is interesting too. But let's go to value now. So value to me is the way you're going to open up your roster. So I love Paris Campbell. Paris Campbell was one time regarded a top like wide receiver that went from Ohio State, was supposed to be really good, and now he's finally healthy. When he's healthy, he can actually be productive, but it's very rare, so that's why we never see it,
And we have to remember Pittman's out for those that didn't hear the news as well. So that's where, there's definitely extra value. It's either going to be Paris Campbell or it's going to be, what's his name? Ashton
Doolin.
Yeah, it'll be one of those two. Otherwise, probably those tight ends. They got a few of them there that can catch the ball. So, Paris Campbell seems like an easy bet there. Gerson, real quick, there was a message in the chat too from Yeti. He said, Allen Robinson is 5,500 as well. If you're swapping lines, thoughts on A-Rob or?
So when he means swapping lines, that means like the late game. So if you're in the late game, you can pivot sometimes. And that's a smart way to get smart with DFS. Like let's say there's injuries, right? You have someone kind of questionable. They might not play in the late game. You're like, oh shit. You have to be able to find a pivot point in case he's out. I don't really see anybody in the late game that I'm too worried about. But I understand Jetty. I like Allen Robinson, but he's a leverage player. He's kind of like a GPP throw-in play, I love Stafford. I forgot to mention other quarterbacks I did like. They're on my sheet. Just look at. I'm gonna post it every week. Just look at that. I can't keep
check out his Twitter at FantasyGDFS. He tweets it every week. You can find it right on there. Is it pinned? Is that your pinned tweet?
Well, I posted it in the chat row too.
Oh, okay. Yeah. See, you got multiple ways to find it. Even easier. But no, on that subject too, Ben, Jamie, thoughts on those wide receivers? We've got Devontae, Tyreek, Christian Kirk, and Paris Campbell.
I love Christian Kirk this year. Like, he's worth every penny that the Jaguars paid him. He's getting his receptions. He's getting his volume. He's getting production. Like, what else more do you want? And where you got him was perfect. So I'm all about Christian Kirk. And Devontae Adams is a given. Regardless of what anybody says, I think everybody knew that he was going to do something when he got to the Raiders. And Tyreek Hill, cheater for a reason. He's going to do, once he gets the ball, he's going to do something.
Jamie, what about you? What do you think about those guys?
I love Adams. He's a smash. I think his overline for yards is like 94, 95, and I think he's going to get like 120, 150, somewhere between there. Maybe like 10 catches, 2 touchdowns. He's going to blow up this week.
I'll just steal a quote from Adams himself. He's top 2, not 2, and that's pretty much all I feel about him. I mean, I always like having him in any lineup, and I think for DFS, I mean, I trust Gerson. If he's telling me to put him in, I won't put him in. But I mean, obviously he's not in the green and gold anymore, but he still holds a special place in my heart. So I love to see him playing well. Also, Gerson. So on the guys that are getting receptions, we've got tight ends as well. I see you have another Raider over there. You want to tell us about that?
Yeah, before I do that, I do want to. One of my buddies messaged me. He's watching the show, but he apparently doesn't know how to freaking comment.
Oh, okay.
And he goes, "I'm trying to ask this question," and he said, "How do you feel about Danny Dime and running it back with Saquon Barkley?" That's fine. I don't mind Danny Dime, but he's not. I don't think he's an elite tier GPP play for me. It's okay to run it back with Saquon because I've said this before and I'll say it again. DFS has changed over the years. You can finally put running back as a correlated back. So I can do Danny Dime, Saquon Barkley, Richie James. I love Richie James because I can say I'm Rick James, bitch, But no,
any reasonable person would want to say.
James, I get it. Richie James and bring it back with one of the other wide receivers, cornerback, tight end on the other side. But I'm not enamored with it, I'd rather go the safe route. I mean, I can't tell you I've ever felt safe about playing Daniel Jones, I mean, this guy couldn't, you saw Dable ripped his ass, Dable was not scared to go to Tyrod Taylor. I bet you that. So get tight end. I mean, I'm going back, man. I'm going back to that Raiders game. And I know you guys think I'm a Raiders fan, but when I have money on the line, I do put that aside. I'm not one of those people that will draft Raiders players for redraft, dynasty, all that because I'm a Raiders fan. I'm not one of those players that's going to put my money on the line that, Jacob. Yeah, I like Jacob. He's a Raider player, No, I'm that guy that's going to be like, hey, you don't pay my bill, homie, I pay your bill because I'll purchase your jerseys and stuff, But Darren Waller, man. Darren Waller, 5.6K. If Isaiah Simmons is coming Darren Waller, I would love to see that because I know Kelsey is elite, but Waller is probably a tier down, lower. But Waller is still an athlete, And he got paid against Simmons versus Arizona. I love the matchup. Middle tier, Albert O, man. Albert O Kubanam, I've loved Albert O all year. Redraft, dynasty, I got him everywhere. He's too cheap right now. And another over-under price pick, underdog. Dude, 3 receptions, he's going to smash that. I think he'll get 5 at least. Against Houston, great matchup. Okay, now brace yourself. Juwan Johnson is 2.5K. Last week, I mentioned Daniel Bellinger. He shit the bed. He got 0. But trust me, you didn't lose your money because of Daniel Bellinger at 2.5K. You lost your money because you didn't know the right plays to play around the whole roster. So we're going back to the same situation. It was crazy to me to see Juwan Johnson do that well with. I saw Taysom Hill he was tight end, right? And stuff, and I'm like, oh man, what am I doing here? It's Juwan Johnson? How is he doing? And then I saw his usage. I saw his snap route. I saw that he ran on, I believe it was 32 of the 40 pass plays that Jameis had. I might be inaccurate on that, but he was there a lot in the passing plays. Juwan Johnson, 2.5K. 2.5K is the lowest you can go on a positional player, to give you an idea.
And Gerson, I got a quick question for you from the chat. So a Facebook user said, swapping out Kittle, should I pay down and adjust someone else with the money saved or pay up and adjust someone else with the money lost?
Oh, yeah. Definitely swap out. And you should, first off, I'm going to give you a piece of advice. Never start your roster construction with a player that's questionable or hurt or injured because you're going to have to deal with the situation. You have to start from the beginning. Start with, I'm confident in this roster. Let's see how it looks, Second off, swap down. I would swap down probably to Darren Waller because I'm guessing they're in the same price range around there. I don't know how much Kittle was because he was not in my player pool, obviously. And he's still not because I excluded him, so I got to find.
I think something too, more specifically with Waller, is just they're playing against Arizona, and I'm sure Ben and Jamie will agree with this, but Arizona looked awful last week. I mean, Ben, Jamie, what were your guys' read
Really
on
bad.
the Arizona game? I mean, I wasn't impressed at all.
Horrible, and I'm used to watching bad games, being a Browns fan. So.
Me being a Cowboys fan too.
Now, and Gerson, I did want to ask you too, in regards to bad defenses. Obviously, you're trying to find some good defenses, ones that'll score for you as well. Who's catching your eye there?
Oh man, it is crazy, right? The Bengals defense. I don't know, man. Like 2,200, they're gonna be the shock. And when I say shock, I mean they're gonna be the highest owned defense by a mile. We're going from 14.6% owned right now to the next team being the Dolphins at 8.4. And it's funny because those are two of the defense I named on the sheet. So
should we have Ben cover his ears or maybe take off his headphones before we get any further into why you're taking Cincinnati this week?
Yeah,
I already know the deal. I don't blame you.
I'm sorry, man. Like, I'm not trying to talk shit. I'm a Raiders fan, so like, I don't have like a lot. I can't back up my stuff, Like, I've been suffering for 20 years now, But no, Cowboys quarterback 2, Cooper Rush. Shockingly, Cooper Rush had a good game against Minnesota last year. I believe they won that game in overtime too.
They did. I was shocked.
Quarterback 2, but this is a different defense. We saw what they did to Patrick Mahomes, and they, in the championship game, they did pretty well. They held their own. I still think last week was kind of a freaky way to start because they kind of struggled, but 2,200. That's $200 away from the cheapest lower price you can get. They're gonna be highly owned. Cowboy offensive line is horrible. I'm gonna say it like it is. I mean, I love that everybody always thinks that the Cowboys line is amazing, but if you actually research your shit, you'll know that they're a poor offensive line right now.
They're banged up. They're hurt. All their good guys aren't even available, and that's the big issue there. I mean, that was a big concern when Dak was there, and now Dak's out for a while, and suddenly you have
no Dak attack anymore. No Dak attack. That's worrisome. The other defense I like is Tampa Bay against Jameis, and then Miami Dolphins versus the Baltimore Ravens. The only reason why I like the Miami Dolphins, they're 2.3K, and they're a turnover machine. If you really go look at Miami Dolphins defense over the last 2 years, they force turnovers, and that's what I'm looking for.
And I wanted to ask you real quick on Tampa Bay. I noticed you were talking about Jameis earlier, and maybe that was pre-show or maybe that was during the QB portion, but with your praise for Jameis, I see you also have Tampa Bay's defense listed. Do you think this could be one of those high turnover games for Jameis, or do you think it's more likely he's putting up a lot of points, or a little bit of both?
So, if a quarterback throws the ball a lot, it usually causes potential for turnover. And Jameis is going to be throwing the ball a lot. Like I said, I think this game's going to be close, and it can go two ways: defense matchup, or just a straight up shootout, right? And if Jameis is going to be throwing the ball a lot, he's prone to turnovers. We're looking for turnovers here. They are priced up a little more at 3.3K, but that Tampa Bay defense against the Cowboys, even though it's only 3/4 of Dak Prescott, I don't know how many quarters it was. I mean, it was Sunday Night Football. I was drunk, and I kind of fell asleep after the third quarter, But sorry, guys, I wake up at 4 a.m. sometimes, If you don't believe me, I'll send you a message next week. But, just Jameis being Jameis. He can be a turnover machine, fumbles. Dude, I'm telling you right now, Devin Smith is going to win Defensive Player of the Year this year. I'm calling it. He is a beast. And I love that Tampa Bay defense. Tom Brady's going through some shit or something. I don't know what he's going through, but obviously this defense is going to be like, yo, we got you, TB12. We got you. But, yeah, give me those three defense. But, obviously, guys, play the Cincinnati Bengals defense. Don't get cute with it. I don't care how high they're owned. If they're great matchup, and let's say they get you 4 points, right? You pay 2.2K. Like, it's the lowest possible. Well, that's it for the DFS stuff, man.
Yeah, no, that's it. Thank you, Gerson. We appreciate it as always. We wanted to give you some time to set all 9 million lineups of yours. I mean, now we're going to get into the start-sit stuff. I know a few of you were asking in the chat. Don't worry, I have those comments pinned so we can address those as well. Before we get any further, though, we do have an ad read that I wanted to go through real quick. Let me change that. So first off, No House Advantage is changing the game by offering the most dynamic fantasy sports platform available today. Play in pick'em style contests versus other people for the shot at winning 150K or more. Download the app, use our promo code GF2, and get a deposit match up to $25. Choose a contest, select your player props, earn points for correct picks, and climb the leaderboard for your shot to win big money every day. You can also test your skills versus the house and 20 times your entry if you hit all your picks. Bet on up to 5 player prop, over-unders, or individual player matchups across every major sport league, including NFL, NBA, MLB, PGA, MMA, and NASCAR. Again, our promo code is GF2. Use it at nohouseadvantage.com or download the app on the App Store to get a first deposit match up to $25. Make sure to check out No House Advantage today and experience daily fantasy sports redefined, because it's not just how you play, but also where you play. With that in mind, before we get into our own start sits, we've got plenty of them to get into ourselves in this chat. We will start from the top here. We have one from Mako J. As my wide receiver 2, do I do CeeDee Lamb, Rashad Bateman, Devonta Smith, and their wide receiver 1 is Justin Jefferson. So out of the 3, Lamb, Bateman, Smith, who are you guys taking? Jamie, let's start with you.
Yeah, it's easy for me. Bateman all the way. Yeah, I think Lamar's going to have him targeted a lot this week. Duvernay's not going to catch all those touchdowns again. So I don't trust Lamb or Smith.
And what about you, Ben? What are your thoughts?
CeeDee Lamb. No, I'm playing with you. I cannot trust CeeDee Lamb at all. And I'm not trusting Devonta Smith after putting up a goose egg last week.
Mm-hmm.
So Bateman. Yeah, I would go with him.
I think I want to say Smith because of a bounce back week 2. I'm not expecting consistent goose eggs, but that one hurt me. There was a matchup I lost last week by 6 points, and the only reason I lost was because I had Mooney and Devonta in my flex spots, and I had 5 different options on my bench that all scored enough for me to win. But I mean, I did the right thing, played the big names, and of course they gave me 1.6 combined points. So that's always a good time. Good start to the year. Also, another one for us. We've got Etienne or Curtis Samuel at my flex. I'm going to assume this is probably PPR if you're considering either or. Because if it's just a standard, I would definitely go running back over wide receiver. But are you guys taking Travis Etienne or Curtis Samuel?
I'm definitely going ETN over Curtis Samuel this week. I feel like ETN, they're going to give him more volume. I have a feeling that, because James Robinson was clearly, he took over. It looked like he was the number 1. But I feel like they're going to be passing more this week. So give me ETN on this.
Jamie, what do you think?
I'm also going ETN. Curtis Samuel's that gadget player, and he could put up a goose egg. So ETN all the way. I took ETN's prop bets on rushing over, receptions over, receiving yards over. So I'm banking on ETN this week.
I'm banking on ETN as well. I mean, there were a few drop passes. There was an overthrow, but 2 plays go differently, and he has 2 touchdowns. Things look a lot different where James Robinson isn't getting those touches, where he's getting the major points from those scores. So I'm still going to bet on ETN there. I like the PPR option. I do like Curtis Samuel. I mean, I was excited about him going into the year as an undervalued guy relative to where he was going, but at the same time, that volume is a little too high of an expectation given what we've seen in the past. So I think ETN's a more realistic route there. Another one also from Mako J, we've got ETN or Henderson as my RB2. I'm going to go with Henderson there.
Yeah. I'm also going Henderson. I think I have him in the top 12 this week. ETN's a little bit farther down. It's his backfield.
Ben?
Yeah, you got to go Henderson. You have to go Henderson, just for the fact that he's definitely the RB1 in that system until Cam Akers emerges. And don't get anybody twisted, because Cam Akers will emerge this year, but it's just when. And when he does, you'll see that 50-50 balance again. But as of right now, Henderson.
Cam Akers will not emerge. I've been saying Daryl's the better running back for a year and a half now, so I am happy to see Daryl getting the workload. My whole takeaway with this specific choice would be taking Henderson due to the fact of it's the Rams versus the Falcons. I'm expecting that the Rams are going to be up by a large majority, and at that point, they're probably not throwing the ball as much. They're going to be running more, and that's where I see Daryl getting more fantasy points. So I would definitely lean that route there. And then in regards to another one, I guess he was asking about, so Gabe Davis, any recent injury news? I haven't heard of any updates as of yet. I've been checking my notifications to make sure we're not missing out on anything. But do you guys want to take the risk to start Gabe Davis, or are you going to probably start someone sooner? Because, those Monday night ones are scary. If they don't play Monday, probably don't have any other options.
Like, unless you have like McKenzie or someone else on your bench that's playing Monday, I would probably start someone that's playing today. But this is my boy Jeremy, so text me, tell me your other options, and I'll let you know what I think.
Yeah, or feel free to put them in here, and we'll gladly answer. And then let's see, we got one more as well. We've got Ryan H. Who should I start as my RB2 between Rashad Penny, Ramondre Stevenson, or Cordero Patterson? And then we'll dive into the flex part after we answer this first part. Ben, who are you taking in the RB2 slot? Penny, Stevenson, or Patterson?
Oh, man. Honestly.
And it's a standard league.
And this is standard?
Yeah.
Probably Penny. Honestly, because Patterson's going against the Rams. I don't like that matchup at all. I mean, granted, he might get the volume, but it's what he's going to do with that volume. Stevenson has Harris there, and, the Patriots did not look good at all, so I'm going to sit and wait until he produces a little bit. So I'll probably go with Penny.
Jamie, what are you thinking?
I was thinking Penny too, but San Fran's not easy to run on. If I'm looking at my rankings now, I have Patterson and Standard the highest, but I still don't trust any of these guys.
I'm probably taking Ramondre. I don't feel good about any of them, but
yeah.
The New England offense didn't look good, and if there's one route they have to go to be competitive, it's going to be through their running backs. So that's probably where I'll lean more in favor of Ramondre. Obviously, it's a standard league, and that's where Patterson isn't necessarily as intriguing to me. And I still just don't trust Seattle's offense. I mean, if they're throwing the ball as well, I get Seattle won week 1, but that was more of the high of playing against Russ. They kind of get their revenge, I felt like. But other than that, I don't know if I really want to be taking that offense. I have a feeling they'll be down a majority of these games where they'll be throwing the ball a lot more, and therefore Rashad won't be thriving the same way. And then he's also asking about in the flex, same options, but also mixing in Curtis Samuel. In a standard league, are you going to start one of those RBs, or are you going to go Curtis Samuel?
I guess.
Go ahead, Jamie.
Go ahead.
Sorry.
I was going to say go with Stevenson. He's the better running back than Harris, and they're just probably going to use him more.
Yeah, I would probably use one of the running backs. I want to plug in Curtis Samuel. This is like PPR, because like you said, he's a gadget player.
I might go Curtis Samuel there. I might just sneak in some Curtis Samuel. It's more about the touchdown stuff. It's whether I think that those teams are going to be competitive in their game, where they're going to have opportunity to be in the red zone. Because if any of those teams, Seattle, New England, or Atlanta, are consistently in the red zone, I'm going to want to take one of those running backs just because there's a higher chance of them actually getting a touchdown, getting the scoring on top of their rushing yards.
And then Mac Jones, is he still having back issues?
I don't even know. I mean, I know that he's lost the dad bod. I mean, I think that's still the major news of it. But no, yeah. I think he's good. I mean,
he has no receivers really to throw to, so they're going to have to use Stevenson.
And also, thank you, Doug. Nice talking with you the other day as always. And appreciate it, Yeti. Appreciate the love. Josh McHale, what's up? Good morning, the Gator J. We got a few people in here. So Jeremy Brooks also is asking us, who finishes better this week, Bateman, London, or Dotson?
Bateman all the way.
Bateman.
Yep. Yeah, he's
Yeah,
the number
I say
one.
Bateman also.
Yep.
I like Bateman there as well. And I mean, I like Duvernay as a little, if you're desperate. I had him in a lineup or two last week, but it's still a little scary. Also, Fantasy Duck, he just hopped in here and he said there's no designation right now for Mac Jones, so he's going to go there. But yeah, I think Bateman's definitely the play there. London and Dotson are both scary. Can't really trust that consistency in production. Gerson, our man who's filling out his DFS lineups now, he's asking Chase Edmonds or Allen Robinson in his flex. What are you guys thinking there?
I want to see it from A-Rob first. I'm going to go Edmonds. He's going to get the usage.
Ben, what about you?
Yeah, I'm thinking the same thing. I mean, after Allen Robinson didn't get that many looks at one game, I got to see the production happen. And I know Chase Edmonds is going to get that production, so I'm going to go Chase Edmonds.
Well, I hate to go chalk here, but I agree. I mean, I'm not an A-Rob guy. I've never really had him in any league for the past few years, so there's no reason I would start this week. That's about all I've got on that one. And then we've got flex, A.J. Dillon or Kareem Hunt, full PPR.
Ooh.
I'm going A.J. Dillon.
Yeah, I'm same. A.J. Dillon. I got A.J. Dillon and Aaron Jones both in the top 20.
Yeah, I got A.J. Dillon also. I mean, I love Kareem Hunt, but I think A.J. Dillon got the little advantage over Kareem Hunt.
I love A.J. Dillon. I mean, I'm big. Obviously, I'm in a Packer jersey. This isn't the bias, though. I mean, I've been saying all offseason that this is going to be a run-first offense, and I think Aaron Jones, A.J. Dillon are both must-starts. And right now, they're going to be coming back this week. I was surprised with the game script last week where they're utilizing the pass offense a lot more than I anticipated. This week, though, I do believe the Packers will be up, and that's where, like I've already mentioned with some other matchups, they'll be shifting more towards the usage of those backs. Also, we've got someone in here saying, where is Gerson? Well, Gerson was in here the first 30 minutes. He was doing his DFS stuff, but he's all done now. He's filling out his DFS lineups. So he's here watching. He's here in spirit, but now he's got to go make his money on his DFS.
So going back to that last question, I actually have A.J. Dillon over Nick Chubb this week.
Oh, okay.
So just one spot over him, but it's still.
No, I mean, I like A.J. Dillon a lot, especially in a full PPR. We know Aaron's going to dump it off to them plenty. Kareem Hunt, I mean, he was great last week. I think Kareem Hunt's a great play, but honestly, you're in a great spot if those are your two options at the flex, because that means one of them is just getting benched. So good for you. If you've got that kind of RB depth, you're probably in a great spot for competing this year. So that's what I like to hear. So with these start sits in mind, for anyone else viewing right now, if you guys want to ask us any start sits, we'll gladly address those. But Jamie, you had one in our show sheet. If you want to get into that first one, it was you had Christian Kirk, Allen Robinson, and Devonta Smith. What were your thoughts on that one?
Definitely, I'm going Kirk. Just he's got those targets. Like last week, he had 12, 13, something like that. He's playing in the slot. He's just gonna get peppered with those targets. And I heard it's going to be raining, not a lot, but it's still going to be raining. So they'll probably just throw it short to him a lot. And then you can't trust A-Rob yet until I see it. And same with Smith with that goose egg.
Ben, what about you? What are you feeling with that start sit?
Yeah, you got to go Kirk. Got to go Kirk. I'm so high on Kirk right now. It's unbelievable, especially in PPR. I feel like he's going to be one of the biggest steals in the draft if you drafted him.
We're not going chalk on this one. I've decided to come back to my boy, Mr. Goose Egg last week. Devonta Smith's getting this role for me.
No.
I got to do it. If it's raining, I don't want to trust the passing game there. I mean, I want to go with the ground game first. I could see that being more of a ground and pound game itself, more low scoring. And realistically, I think there's more pass offense with Philly right now than what Green Bay was with these young wide receivers. So I like that matchup of that mobile QB against Minnesota. I see that being a high-scoring game, and I could see Devonta Smith having just a deep ball and some wide open stuff while they're focusing on A.J. Brown. I don't really trust Minnesota's secondary. I mean, if Christian Watson didn't drop that, I mean, he blew right by that guy. I could see the Philly wide receivers doing the same thing. So I see big boomer bust potential for Devonta Smith. I could easily see him putting up 20 plus. I could also see him, repeating last week. But if you want to take a gamble, that's the route I would go. Ben, you had a start sit for us as well. And I noticed you had some tight ends you were considering here. It was Logan Thomas, Albert O, and Mike Gesicki. You want to explain that?
Yeah. So I was in a situation where I have Kittle as my tight end. Okay. And I also have a friend that's in a situation where Mikey G is his tight end. And both on the waiver wire is Albert O and Logan Thomas. Now, I don't trust Mikey G. He's going against Baltimore. He only put up 1.1 points against the Patriots. Okay. Albert OK, he's going against Houston. He put up 8.3 points against Seattle, which, I like it. He has good production. Volume's not there, though. And then Logan Thomas is going against Detroit, 7.5 against Jacksonville last week. I'm going with Logan Thomas just for the fact of that boom factor. I feel like OK has a cap to him. So I'm hoping to get a couple more points with Logan Thomas. That's what I'm trying to do.
Okay. Jamie, what are your thoughts on that start? Who are you leaning towards in that match?
Well, it's definitely not Gesicki. I'm not trusting him. I don't even see him getting 2 targets. So it's between Alberto and Logan Thomas. If I went matchup, I guess I'd have to go Alberto, but I think if it was my lineup, I'd put in Logan Thomas.
I'll put it this way. I've never been high on Alberto. I'm out on that. I mean, we saw last week they were using a whole bunch of different tight ends. I like the way they were using tight ends. If that workload was focused just on Alberto, I'd want to snatch that up immediately. But I got to lean in favor of Logan Thomas. I mean, Detroit's defense didn't look great. It is what we expected essentially. But I gotta go that route there, especially the way Carson was slinging the ball around when they were trying to come back.
And historically, Wilson really doesn't target his tight ends that much.
No, and I don't even want to touch Gesicki. Every time it seems like the logical play, that's usually when he burns me the most. Also, so my start sit, my first one that is DK Metcalf, Julio Jones, or Cole Kmet. This is a PPR. This isn't a flex spot, of course. What are you guys' thoughts there?
Well, Julio, is he even playing?
Oh, yeah.
Julio's out, so I would go
just got me
Metcalf.
thinking about that.
Yeah, but definitely Metcalf for me. He'll see the targets, so
DK then over Cole.
Yeah. DK got that touchdown capability, so
he's a beast.
DK.
My logic too is just the same thing where I could see Green Bay being up by a good amount, where I see them trying to throw the ball. We're not in that weather from last week, and I get, St. Brown was catching touchdowns for Chicago last week, but that was such a weird game. I'm not putting too much into it. I'm high on Cole Kmet, so I could make a case for it, but if there's enough injuries with San Francisco right now, I think I'm still going to have to lean in favor of DK. It's hard to take him out of my lineup at any point in time. And then with your second one, Jamie, and also speaking of the tight ends with Alberto, Jeremy's absolutely right. Jeremy says Beck was better. Yeah, I completely agree. Last week, Beck was looking like the better tight end. I mean, I was impressed for a guy I hadn't really ever heard of. I mean, I'm still high on Greg Dulcich. I'm waiting for him to come off the pup, and hopefully he can steal that tight end 1 role. But also for all of you guys out there, if you have any last-minute start sits that you're wondering about who you should slot in there, let us know. We'll gladly address those. Jamie, your second one, though, you had Chase Edmonds, Ezekiel Elliott, or Jeff Wilson.
Okay, yeah, I'm definitely not starting Zeke. I know you drafted him high, and I just don't trust that offensive line. Like, he might get volume, but I just can't see over 3.5 yards a carry. Maybe he'll get 10 carries, so...
Is it PPR?
Yes, PPR. But I see Pollard getting all the catches. So that takes Zeke out the equation. Jeff Wilson just picked him off the waivers. Again, I don't trust that backfield until we see it. I don't know what the splits are going to be. between him, Mason, and Davis Price. Like, I want to see it before I trust Wilson. So I'm keeping Wilson on the lineup. And then Chase Edmonds, I drafted him in a bunch of leagues, like in the 10th, 11th round when I did my early drafts. So, like we said earlier, I'm smashing Edmonds this week.
Ben, what are your thoughts on those running back options there? Who are you taking?
I mean, I've been souping up Edmonds this whole time, so it's hard for me not to go with Edmonds. I mean, Zeke, I like Zeke. I love Zeke. I'm a Cowboys fan. What am I saying? I love Zeke. But what he's doing without Dak, I can't trust that. The line's all banged up. Tony Pollard's there. How many times are they going to run the ball with Zeke? And how efficient is he going to be? That scares me. So I'm going to go with Edmonds. And I'll trust him.
I'm going Zeke. I don't trust Pollard. I don't trust what that's about. I don't obviously could go 50-50, but I don't see Zeke being on the field for that few of snaps because I expect the pocket to collapse, Cooper Rush to have to rush and just dump something off, and Zeke will be on the field for those as well. So if it's PPR, I see both of them being able to get targets and get some points that way as well. Obviously, it's not going to be pretty. I expect them to be losing by a good amount, but I guess as I say that, I could see the realm with Chase Edmonds then, because if they're down by enough, how much they might even just put their third string running back in. If it gets ugly, say it's the third quarter and it's 30-7, right, and it's not feeling good, they might just not put Zeke back in. So.
Yeah, and last week, Najee only had 10 carries for 23 yards against Cincinnati. And, he got that receiving touchdown, but I can see that going to Pollard, if anything.
Yeah. No, it's dangerous. I mean, I get where you guys are coming from with Chase. I'm not feeling great. That's your RB2 on that team?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, there's definitely some risk with all of them where you don't really feel too confident one way or another, but realistically, your safest floor is Chase Edmonds. I would say your best boom bust would be Zeke.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So and it's a dynasty league. So if I lose, then I get a better draft pick next year.
Hey,
that's the way I look at it.
Yep, I know that. I've got a few leagues I'm actively tanking in.
Get Bijan Robinson, JSN next year.
So they're both Debbie leagues and they're both super flex. I've got CJ Stroud and Bryce Young in my back pocket for both. So we're all ready for next year in 2022. But Ben, let me ask you: do you want to do another start sit, or would you like to cover your first bonus question? I noticed you had a prop bet there you wanted to talk about.
Doesn't matter to me. We'll start with the start sit. We'll do start sit real quick. So we're going wide receivers real quick. Darnell Mooney against Green Bay, 1.8 against San Fran last week. We got Jarvis Landry against Tampa, 18.4 against Atlanta last week, and then Drake London against the Rams, 12.4 points against New Orleans last week. And for me, it was hard between Jarvis Landry and Darnell Mooney, but I think I'm going to go Darnell Mooney. That tsunami game, didn't faze me at all. I knew what to expect. I knew they were going to run the ball. He plays in the slot a lot, Darnell Mooney, and that's a big mismatch. So if they can play Darnell Mooney in the slot more, I would like to start Darnell Mooney. I know what he can do.
I think Darnell Mooney is a must start. I already alluded to it earlier, but if they're losing, they're going to be throwing the ball. I still view him as by far and away the best option. Obviously the Packers have some good corners, but also, they weren't always lining up their best corner on the best wide receiver. I noticed that last week where they had the third corner on Justin Jefferson on a given play. So, if they're doing that type of setup again, Darnell Mooney may have some favorable matchups there. Plus, he's clearly the wide receiver one by a wide margin. It's him and Cole Kmet in the receiving game. And then, Jamie, what are your thoughts there? Are you leaning Darnell as well?
Oh, definitely Darnell Mooney. Yeah, he is a beta playing an alpha role, but like you said, he's going to be in the slot a lot. Just I can see him being targeted.
And then, so I've got a start sit for you guys too. I'm trying to make up my mind on this one, and this is just I couldn't list them all because we could go on and on all day about all the options. Because I've also got Rex Burkhead on the bench, Chase Edmonds on the bench. This is for my RB2. I've got Travis Etienne, David Montgomery, Darrell Henderson, Rex Burkhead, and Chase Edmonds.
Wow.
Who are you taking?
I'm going to go Henderson in that one. But it's hard to sit Edmonds or Etienne, so those are all good options.
Or Montgomery, too.
Montgomery, I'm not touching Montgomery.
Is it PPR or standard?
It's PPR.
PPR?
Yeah. And that's where, my RB1 is JT. And, yeah. Obviously, JT is just a permanent lock. So,
if you were asking me right now, I would agree with Jamie and say Henderson. But if I wanted to get some upside because of PPR, I would probably start Etienne.
That's where I've been leaning, is between Henderson and Etienne. And, my third start sit was actually the flex plays off of that, because I have all those same running backs, but then I have Paris Campbell, I have Elijah Moore, I have Devin Duvernay. I've got plenty of – I just think it might be a four running back lineup week.
Did you have anybody playing on Thursday?
No.
So you have everybody playing this week. Did your opponent have anybody playing or Thursday?
No.
So
it's a clean slate.
Yeah, I would probably go with a safe bet and probably go Henderson.
And what I would say too to our viewers, with setting your lineups, if you have only a select amount of players starting in your early games, I would advise using those early plays in your primary slots. Because the flex spots, you want to be able to leave those open, because if there's an injury, if something changes, whether it's weather, say it's like Chicago last week, you want to be able to rotate in, and flex gives you the most variability there. So if you're doing early games, only a couple guys, make sure to be putting them into the actual position slots. That's just going to give you the most opportunity to adjust as the later games approach. So with those start sits, and we don't have any others coming up in the chat as of right now. First off, I wanted to ask you, Ben, you had a prop bet for us. You want to share that with us?
Yeah. Which one were you talking about? I had a couple prop bets I wanted to talk about.
Let's start with the first one.
All right. So right off the bat, I want to get Amon-Ra St. Brown against Washington. I'm taking the over 57.5 receiving yards. Okay. Amon-Ra St. Brown, that offense looked really good despite losing against the Eagles. Okay. He got his volume. He caught 8 of 12 targets and scored a touchdown. Okay. The offense also looks balanced. They have a good run game and they have a good pass game. And against the Commanders, I can see him doing really well. So I feel like that's easy money. So I'm taking the over on Amon-Ra St. Brown, 57.5 receiving yards.
Jamie, what are your thoughts on that? You think over?
Yeah, no, I agree on the over on that. You got to put money on that one.
Yeah, I can't disagree with. 57.5 seems fairly low based on. What was his yardage week 1? Wasn't it good?
Yeah, his yardage was really good. I don't have it off site on my paper right now.
Week 1.
You really think DJ Chark's gonna outperform him? I don't think so.
I think they both might do good.
Yeah. He had 64 yards in week 1, which I feel as if that's fairly low for what I kind of expected. But that still hits over on that, which I think is the point to hammer home there. Do you think he has a lower yardage than 64 last week? If he's still in that same ballpark, he's still hitting it. And if he does anything more, you're also hitting it. So I think that's a very safe bet there. Let's just fly through a couple of these prop bets since we're getting close to the end here, actually. So another one you had for us, Ben, was
Saquon Barkley
versus Carolina. You took over 70.5. And actually, before we get to this, Jeremy's popping in here. And we have Yeti real quick saying my top prop is Lamar Jackson over 219.5.
Oh, I took that, yeah.
We'll touch that more in a second. Let's do the start sit first. Jeremy Brooks says, stick with Lamb or take a flyer on London. Who else?
Probably Lamb. The Cowboys fan
yeah.
in me is saying Lamb, and the talent's there. You have to. I mean, Drake London he's going against Ramsey. So it's like,
Do you have any
know,
other
man.
flyers on the bench? You know, like a Duvernay or a Samuel? Or, I don't know. London scares me right now, but I mean, at the same time, if they're down big, they'll probably be throwing. It's just a matter of, does Jalen Ramsey and that Rams defense make someone like Drake London look silly, or what's going on there, right?
You could say the same thing about the Cowboys too.
Yeah, and that's what concerns me. But you can't really go wrong either way because they should be the primary option. Obviously, Lamb is clear and away as the number one. He says Dotson is his other option. Would you play Dotson instead?
Probably still go Lamb.
Yeah, because Cooper Rush isn't afraid to sling it down the field. I mean, that's a good thing and a bad thing for Cooper Rush, but it helps Lamb.
Yeah. No.
So as long as he hits on those receptions, I can see.
It's a tough spot to feel good. I mean, you want to feel confident in where you took Lamb to start the year. I understand. You know, you invested high capital in him. He's a very young and talented wide receiver, but it's scary. I would still go that route though. But now let's real quick go back to Yeti's message, and also I believe I had a previous message I wanted to bring up from him that I did not quite appreciate. He mentioned tried to come on and play the horn for you today, but don't think it. Yeah, I appreciate you wanting to play your Viking horn. I'll let you enjoy your week one. Yeah, of course, Jeremy. We're glad to help. We get the issue. We've all been there. I mean, it's nice to be able to talk it out and have some other perspectives on that lineup. But no, that Viking horn. Guess what? Enjoy it while it lasts. I mean, Vikings fans, they're all the same. They just it's like they just root for our demise because that's about as good as it gets for them. And so I understand it. I respect. I try to respect it, and it's more pity I feel than anything. I'll leave it at that. But enjoy it, and if you win the division, I look forward to watching you fall out of the playoffs before the Super Bowl. So, but back to our prop bets, though. So real quick, we'll do the last two. Let's just quickly go through them, and then we got to close it out. But Saquon Barkley versus Carolina. You said over 70.5 rushing yards.
Yeah, he's going to demolish that. You know, last week he put up 194 total yards against the Titans with a touchdown. And the Panthers, which he's going against today, let Chubb and Hunt over 35 fantasy points. Over 35 fantasy points. So he's going to feast. You know, the volume and production is back. Saquon is back. Put all your money on him.
I like
that. Yeah, I agree on that because you saw what Hunt and Chubb did last week, and Saquon's going to get all the passes and all the yards. It's just his offense, so smash that over.
No, I think that's an easy one too. Versus Carolina. I mean, Carolina's defense is fairly good, but I mean, Saquon looked like a man on a mission. I don't want to bet against him right now. You know, when he's looking like this, he's looking like one of those best running back in the league type of guys. So you got to ride the momentum there. 70.5, just like that 57.5 on Amon-Ra seems fairly low. And I feel fairly comfortable with that line too. And I mean, hey, if you want to parlay them together, even better.
Easy money.
Yeah. And then for your third one, you had a prop bet, Chase Edmonds over 3.5 receptions, over 22.5 receiving yards.
Yep. So I'm also doing that. I'm taking the over on receptions for Chase Edmonds against the Ravens, 3.5 receptions and 22.5 receiving yards. See, this is the thing. When the Ravens faced the Jets, they allowed 13 receptions against running backs. So Hall and Carter feasted all over that Ravens defense. And I can see that happening with Chase Edmonds. He got the production. He got 16 touches last week. You know, and regardless if you look at the stats for Chase Edmonds, it might not look like he'd done a lot, but he was in that game a lot. And like I said, 16 touches. If he can get that against this team that let the Jets run over him with their running backs, I can see him being big this week. So I'm definitely taking the over for the receptions and receiving yards.
I'm not as confident on the 3.5 receptions. I can see a realm where he's getting a lot more than that, but
this one was more of a long shot.
Yeah, that one's more of a long shot. I mean, if you want to get risky, I'm still eyeballing those first two props, maybe slapping them in a parlay.
Yeah.
But
I can see
Jamie,
it
what are
happening,
your
though.
thoughts on that one? You like those?
I like the 22.5. When I saw that, I just threw, $15-20 or something on that one. If he gets 3 receptions, he could hit that easy.
Oh, by the way, I'm sorry to interrupt, but the 3.5 reception yards, that was on DraftKings. Anywhere else, I believe it's 2.5.
Okay.
So you can go 2.5 or 3.5.
I could get down with more. Yeah, the 3.5 is where it kind of scares me because that's where it's really got to be
but that's the biggest payout, so that's why I went with the 3.5.
And I get it's only one more reception, but it's still, I definitely feel more comfortable with 2.5. I'm still concerned about the 22.5 receiving yards. It's not a lot, though. So if you really think he's going to get a few dump passes, it's easy to see even just one of them breaking off for 15 yards. He gets one
40 last week
reception, and the other 3 can be a combined 8 yards, and you hit both. So I mean, if you're doing a parlay of those together, I mean that seems very favorable for sure. Plus, you could take the alternate prop too. If it's only 2.5 on others, and you think you might go over on the 3.5. You could take the alt and take that and get even better odds. But
so I want to touch on one more start sit if you don't mind, real quick. My inbox got flooded yesterday. Like 5-6 different people asked me, do I start Ashton Dulin or Campbell with Pittman out? Someone's going to get that increase in targets. And if you look at last week, I think Dulin out targeted Campbell 6-4, and he only played a third of the snaps that he did. And Dulin had 95 air yards compared to Campbell's 20. So who would you go with, Dulin or Campbell? Campbell seems the safer. Dulin's more of the upside.
I think Campbell has more of the upside. I mean, really? I think he's the safer one, and he has, because I guess I look at Campbell as kind of the guy where injuries were always his biggest concern, and he's definitely not shined in the same way that someone like Michael Pittman has. But if there's a week where I think it could be kind of I think this is the week that sets up Paris Campbell for a sell high entering week 3 in leagues in regarding to trades. I could see him putting up a big stat line this week. He did decent last week, I believe, and being able
3
to
catches,
hey, he's healthy. Look at what he did. People are just going to forget about the past. He's still fairly young. He had all this excitement and hype coming out of college. So I like him this week a lot, but I definitely am going to use that more so as trade bait because I don't expect it to maintain at all long term, because I could easily see, Campbell blowing up this week and then next week it being Dulin. I don't expect it to be consistently Campbell as the guy if Pittman's out.
But what caught my eye was those air yards, the 95 air yards compared to Campbell's 20.
It's a good stat, and I mean, it definitely makes sense. I get where you're coming from. I just, I think I'm feeling this week for Paris, and then I think he's going to regress back. So hopefully, a few of the leagues that I took him for cheap have him stashed on the bench. I can use them in a little bit of trade bait and sell him after one good week.
Yeah, remember Campbell was a second-round pick, and I'm pretty sure he was picked before Metcalf.
Yeah, but and he's already fallen so far down the totem pole. I mean, that's a guy that you're getting way late in dynasty startups or in redraft.
Yeah, Campbell's actually my most owned player this year, like 60-some% of my leagues.
And Ben, what are your thoughts there? With
see, I'm going both ways. I wouldn't start either of them, to be honest with you. But I've seen in my fantasy leagues, I see a couple people starting Dulin. I see a couple people starting Campbell, and I feel like like I said, I wouldn't start any of them. But if you want the upside, I would go for that boom for Dulin. That's what I would think. You see, if you want to go by stats, I would go Dulin. Experience-wise, talent-wise, I would go Campbell. But like I said, I wouldn't I wouldn't start any of them. And I actually got a question for you, because you said that if Campbell, does good this week, you would try to sell him. Say he puts up like a 20-point, 22-point game. What do you think you get for him?
It depends on how good of a salesman you are.
Someone's
that's a big, Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much how I treat most of my trades. I'll send you an offer. I mean, I'll post them on the trade block on Sleeper. If someone says, hey, want to get him, usually reference, where he was drafted, second round pick, productive at Ohio State, all this excitement. Hey, guess what? Look, he's finally healthy. He's finally got a quarterback. It's not Wentz anymore. He's got Matt Ryan. They're a run-first offense, so they're only going to use him when he's open, and he will be open because he's the second guy behind Pittman. Hey, come get him, because this is what he looks like when he's the main prize in that passing offense.
So let me ask, if he put up 22 points and I said, hey, I see you need a wide receiver, I'll give you him for, let's just say Zach Ertz. Say he has another tight end on the bench that's, somewhat
I don't
good.
see that. I think there's enough Zach Ertz hype where I wouldn't see someone paying that. I would think it would have to be more along like if they're competitive, maybe a late second, like if it's a dynasty league, a late second round pick, or if it's redraft, maybe there's another guy that's underperformed to this point that I believe is higher, but he's had 2 single-digit weeks. Not like, say Devonta Smith puts up 4 points this week. It's not like I'm going to get Devonta Smith in return, but just someone that might have been a round or 2 or maybe 3 rounds earlier in a redraft that I can offer, or hey, see, this guy's actually produced. Swap it out, or I actually believe the guy I'm getting has the higher upside. People, there's a lot of reactionary, just in the moment, they have to make a move or they get concerned, the patience. You got to wait. Week 1, don't overreact to it. Week 2 is when I kind of start addressing things, but week 3 is when I really know one way or the other. But that's where week 2 is usually when I'm making my moves, because I kind of, I'm still high on this guy. Say Cole Kmet, been super high on him. If he's not producing as of next week or as of this week still, I'm still going to believe in him, but I can buy him for a lot cheaper in the leagues that don't have him. So that's where I'll utilize it. Or if someone's trying to get him and get him at a cheaper price point, no, I still believe in the potential. So no, thank you. But that's enough of my little trade talk for today. First off, Ben, you want to tell everyone where they can find you on TikTok or on Twitter?
Yeah, so I'm mostly on TikTok. I do skits, I do predictions. We have fun all the time. Great football knowledge, even stuff you can laugh at. I'm at Dr. F Goods PPR on Twitter, so you can find me there. I'm also on TikTok, same thing, Dr. F Goods PPR. Hopefully I can come back again, guys. Great show. Zach, you're awesome. Jamie, you're the man. You already know the deal.
And Jamie, where can we find you?
I'm on Twitter at Jamie Perog, and then mostly on Facebook in my fantasy football discussion group. It's called the Fantasy Football Discussion Group. We got 35,000 members, constantly asking questions, arguing back and forth. It's a good group of people.
Can't have some good fantasy football talks without some arguing, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Pellowski. Thank you, Jamie. Thank you, Ben, for joining me today. And thank you, everyone watching, for jumping in the chat and watching. We look forward to seeing you next week, and have a good day.